Howdy, howdy! It's your host Maya. This is a offshoot something of your take is excrement. Made a little bit of hiatus, so I'm trying to do some solo content. It's taken me far too long to get this out, and I deeply apologize. Um, but we're gonna be doing a little introspective on Lars von Trier. If you're in the Discord server and keeping track of it, you you knew this was coming. But yeah, so first I really want to talk about kind of the things I like about Lars von Trier and kind of like who he is as a person. Yeah, Lars von Trier is a Dane. He grew up in Denmark. There's not a whole lot known about his life. He isn't super open about that. But he's really notable for making Dogma 95. It's this concept of like making film, and if you follow these like rules, we'll give you a certificate. But it's basically just like you need to remove like the director's self from the film, remove a lot of the accoutrements of filming. You like all the music and noise in the movie has to be diegetic. And he's only done I think one film with Dogma 95, and a lot of films pretending to be Dogma 95. Um, but we'll get into that more in a bit. Um, but and I want to say some nice things about Lars before I just really go nuts. Um, the man can shoot a film. It's like I all those movies I deeply dislike his ideology and his what he thinks and what he thinks of the world. It is almost offensive to me. Um, just but his like his just cinematography is beyond good. Like as much as I hate his movies, I want to watch more because they just like as a movie just perform so well, and every actor he casts, he just gets the best out of. And I don't. There's allegations of like him abusing women and abusing actresses, notably like Bjork. Other people, everyone's done this whole like, well, no, he's my friend. It if you've seen any of his movies, obviously he abuses women. like, um, he's just kind of like all his movies just have this like sadistic bent to them, and specifically against women. That's like I. Has anyone checked like the Danish bog outside of his house? The other pretty notable thing about Lars in the public eye. I'm gonna take a quick apple cider break. The other notable thing with Lars in the public eye is he was being interviewed at Cannes, the film festival, and he just started going on this like rant about how he is a Nazi, and like or he thought he was Jewish, but it turns out his family's like were Nazis, and he's pretty happy about that. And he's just going on and on and on about this, and Nicole Kidman's like, I don't like shit. And like almost telling him to stop. People are like saying it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you an out, and then they would ask another question, and he'd be like, no, I'm gonna keep on talking about how I'm a Nazi. Which and so he walks back some of it, but and there's something I don't know. I definitely didn't notice the first couple times watching the clip, but he goes on this like rant about how he's like, yeah, Hitler, yeah, he was evil, but he did some good, but he was evil, and he doesn't clarify what he thinks is good and evil, but he goes on this rant about Albert Speer, who like was like this close to being executed as a Nazi, and served 25 years for slave labor, and like human rights violations because he would use like Jewish concentration camp victims as slave labor. Just fucked up. And if anyone is like, hey, Albert Speer is kind of neat, like just should probably just leave. Just don't talk to them. Anyone who thinks Albert Speer is cool, never has anything good to say. Case in point, Lars von Trier. So The so I suppose I should get into the movies I watched. So I watched for this Dancer in the Dark, um or just Antichrist, and then the House that Jack built. So Dancer in the Dark is stars Bjork and Stellan Skarsgård, and I do love me some Stellan Skarsgård, but it's about this immigrant worker. I can't or an immigrant who works. I suppose immigrant worker has its own connotations. I can't remember where she's from. It's from like Eastern Europe or something, and she's in. It looks like Pennsylvania, kind of like that area of like the heartlands, and the whole bit of the movie, she's going blind, and she's trying to get enough money to have a procedure done to her son so he doesn't go blind the same way she does. But in this whole fiasco, like her landlord's a cop, and she like works at a factory, so she gets fired from the factory, not because she's blind, or kind of because she's blind, but also because she just daydreams. So the film's a musical, but he's trying to follow his own Dogma 95. So whenever music's happening, it's like she's daydreaming the music happening. And so she's singing, and like the factory workers will all stop working and they're dancing and they're singing because this is her like imagined reality. But so eventually she fucks up and breaks one of the machines. She gets fired. And then her landlord, who's a cop, steals all of her money. And in that scuffle, she accidentally shoots him with his own gun. And then he begs her to finish him off, which she does. And then she gets arrested for murdering a cop. But not before she like gets the down payment down to get her son the corrective surgery. And then basically there's this bit where like a lawyer's like, hey, I can get you off of death row if you give me the exact amount you gave like your son for surgery. And she's like, nah. So then she just gets executed on death row, and it's really fucked up. So this is the first Lars von Trier movie I watched, and it just right off the bat starts to get into some of the things I think are problematic about him and his worldview. I don't we don't know much about Lars von Trier's background, so I can't like say I can't I don't know what he's like done and like what kind of work he's done. But I know for me, it's a part that resonated with the film, and it's not a one-to-one, but it's just kind of the vibe that resonated is like when I came to America, I lived in Africa just about all of my life. So when I like came here, I had family, but they weren't really family to me because I didn't know them. I didn't really have any friends, and so to some degree, and I just got some like shit ass job at the airport, and I was like working to support myself, and it wasn't easy. And so the whole like person comes to America for opportunity, and then doesn't like is just working shit ass jobs and not thriving, is really connects with me because I relate to that to some degree. I like I said, it's not a perfect one to one, but the problem Lars has is, or the problem the main character in the movie, Dancer in the Dark, the problem Bjork's character, is that she is incapable of asking for help, which is weird because like when I worked at the airport, like with my shit ass job, like it was like 9-1 people not from America to Americans. So like, and I fit in with them more than I did with like just the normal Americans. And something that characterized us is even like, it's just we would ask each other for help and help each other out, and not in big ways, but definitely in like in minor ways. And it's just weird when you like make a movie about this kind of stuff, but like your characters can't ask for help, and I don't know, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And also especially because like her inability to just sit down and ask for help is part of what just fucks her up in the long run. And so it's like, and and this is one of the core issues that you're going to see in a lot of Lars von Trier movies, is he'll take this, like, he'll make a woman character, he'll make a woman, and then he will give her some trait that will fuck her over, and he will make her symbolic of like women. So he makes these like strawman archetypes of women that have these like fatal flaws that he gives them, and it just feels like it's reinforcing some like misogyny from his part, and I don't like it. And like, I don't I know there are some people, especially like kind of older people, that's like when you if you offer help, they just won't take it. But like I it's a movie about someone who refuses to accept help, but I don't know, it's just like ultimately I don't really know my thoughts about Dancer in the Dark specific, and that's kind of what took me so long to sit down and try to like do something about it. But because I've been hammering out my thoughts on that for a while. So instead, I watched two more films. So Antichrist is the next film I watched by his. The most important part of this film is you do see like Willem Dafoe hog like immediately, like first minute of the movie. No, no. The most important part of Antichrist is his ideology in it, which is spicy. So Antichrist is about a couple who lost a child. The wife goes absolutely insane. The husband is a therapist and think that he can treat her better than the like mental asylum she's in, or mental hospital, I should say. Yeah, so he takes her to the forest where she starts to just go absolutely nuts. So the whole bit is she's like she's writing a paper the summer before their son died, and it was like the cabin where she was like working on her paper. So they're like working through, they're trying to work through her like grief and sorrow, but the and it's also an erotic film. So the like opening scene is like Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg having sex, and then every time she can't cope with her son's death, she has sex with Willem Dafoe, who acknowledges that this is like a bad coping mechanism, and especially as the wife, or I think it's just like she just called her in the film, gets more like sadomasochistic, like hurting him, wanting him to hurt her, and Willem Dafoe just keeps on trucking with that, and then this kind of comes to a head where she knocks him out, drills a hole through his leg, puts a millstone there. But this is okay. But first, I'm sorry, I got some things out of order. He found the attic, and he goes in the attic and he finds all this research she was doing that was all like people in like the Dark Ages and the medieval ages just killing women, like witch trials and all this. And he starts asking her about it, and he confronts her about it. And she's basically like, "Oh yeah, in my research, I just found out that like women are all evil, just inherently. The nature of a woman is to be evil." And Willem Dafoe's like, "I like what?" And then he finds out that she was kind of actually torturing like their son before he died. And then she hits him in the ball so hard he passes out, jerks him off, and shoots, like comes blood. And then she like drills a millstone to his leg. And then like he tries to escape. She's hunting him down. She's just like kind of stark raving mad at this point. And then he manages to like get the thing off of his leg. She just starts stabbing him with like a pair of scissors. And then he's like, "Hey, are you gonna kill me?" And she's like, "Well, not till the three beggars show up, who are like depression, grief, and like angst or something." And so um the she is like laying down next to him, making him fuck her, and then she like cuts her clitoris off. I don't. It did do, yeah. I don't. I don't like Lars von Trier. I think he hates women. Um, but yeah. So then the three animals show up, but it's actually for her death. Because Willem Dafoe just fucking kills her. And then he leaves. Um, I, the point of the movie is that women are inherently evil. Like the point the movie's trying to make is women are evil and will kill you if they get the opportunity. If you show them any weakness or if you care about them, they'll fuck you. and the Harlem or the Salem witch trials were probably a good thing. It's just like it's fucking insane. There's also this like subtext of the movie, like nature is evil, and we need to like get rid of nature, and it's like, what the fuck are you on about, Lars? So ideologically, I fucking hate this movie, but it's like it's shot beautifully, and that's a fucking problem with Lars. Is he like he's increasingly just making like incel Nazi propaganda, and just like and people watch it because it just looks so good, and it's like I want to watch more Lars, and I fucking hate him, and I like understand this like problem with him, but like it's like almost addictive. The more I hate him, the more I like watching his movies, because like it just the cinematography just kind of like speaks to me. It's shitty. Like, why can't you just have good opinions? But anyway, onto the house that Jack built. This is the most unhinged movie I've ever seen. It is like equal parts unhinged and like ideologically coherent in a way that's terrifying to me. And this is where like I start to think maybe like or this is where I start to think I am so glad that like 4chan and incels haven't found or don't really like these movies, because like the house that Jack built is fucking it's like the it's like the Joker on crack. It's like I can't believe incels haven't like snorted this up like a line of coke. But it's so it's a movie about a serial killer, and like Lars von Trier has talked about how much research he did into serial killers for this, and it's about an engineer with aspirations of architecture who is one day just driving his fucking van along the road, where he, out of the kindness of his own heart, picks up a hitchhiker, and she is just a bitch. She's just the worst, and she keeps on asking him to do more and like bullying him into do more, and then making fun of him because he looks like a serial killer, you know. And it's like it's like the movie's like yo, yeah, bro, like women just make men want to kill them. So because he is driven by the evil nature of women, he kills her. I suppose I should also back up. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So the movie is he's talking to this guy called Verge, and he's telling Verge 5 stories about his life. So the 5 stories are just him like just killing women. And yeah, he's just like doing it, and the whole bit is like women always let him to some degree. There's one exception to that in the movie, but it's always like it's like women are just gullible and, you know, deserve to get killed. Cops are stupid, which fair point. Fuck cops, but like, you know, it's just it the movie is like just so so hateful towards women, and so and it's not just about a serial killer, because the main character espouses a lot of the ideology that Lars von Trier espouses. So it becomes obvious that this is like a self-insert. So Lars von Trier has self-inserted himself into a movie about about killing women, violently and like horrifically, and in sadistic ways. And then that character espouses a lot of his own ideologies. So, like, just like there's this like distaste for nature, and this this like lust for concrete almost. um and there's a bit in it where the main character is talking to Verge, and he's like, yeah, art is decay and destruction, and that's where nature is beautiful. And because like the serial killer sees himself as an artist, he's like making art with these women and children he's killing. And Verge is like, I don't think so, dude. Like, I think that's nuts. And then he goes on. He's like, do you know what he's like, the Stuka is the perfect aircraft. Stukas, for those of you who don't know, are German dive bombers from World War II. And he's like, the Stukas are the perfect like plane. They're elegant. They're graceful. He's like, do you know what like the best part of the Stuka is? And Verge is like, I don't fucking care, dude, but go on. And he's like, it's like the dive bomb, like the dive whistle. It makes like a whistle as it comes in for like a diving run, like a bombing run. And Verge is like, well, that doesn't seem like something you want a dive bomber. And Lars is like, no, but that's like, it's psychological warfare. And it's like, say what you will about the Nazis, dude, but like Albert Speer made great buildings. And Verge is literally, I think like one of the lines he literally says this is like, I've taken a lot of people down to hell. Spoiler alert, he's telling this dude his life on the way to hell. Verge is like, I've taken a lot of people down to hell, but you are the most twisted motherfucker. But then he just goes on this like rant about how it's like, oh, the Holocaust is art because it's destruction, and like, and the Holocaust is art because it made icons of the Nazis, and like the Holodomor and Stalin is art because it was destruction and it made Stalin an icon. The people who died under Mao Zedong, it's art because it made Mao Zedong an icon, and that's the only important part of this world, is doing something so fucked up you become an icon. And while Virgil pushes back on this, it like the glorification of Albert Speer out of fucking nowhere is also something that happened in the interview. So like, I don't think it's a far stretch to say that Jack's ideology mirrors Lars's ideology in a way that's very problematic when it's a movie about a serial killer. And there's like the subplot in the movie where Jack is trying to build a house and he keeps on tearing it down because he can't find the right material to build a house. But at the end of the movie, as the cops are closing in on him, he figures out that he wants to build his house out of bodies. So he builds his house out of bodies, then gets gunned down by the cops and goes to hell. And then there's this interesting part of the movie where he is in hell, and Verge takes him down to the like lowest level of hell. And Verge is like, hey, you're not going here, but since I liked talking to you, I liked your stories, I just want to show you like how much worse it could be. You could be stuck here. But in this, there's a two doors and like a bridge that once connected them, but it's since fallen. And Jack's like, what's on the other side of that door? And Verge is like, oh, that takes you right to heaven. But you can't get there like you can't get across anymore. And Jack's like, well, what if I like climbed around the side to get there? And Verge is like, you could, but no one's done it. So good luck. And then yeah, Jack falls into hell because he falls in the worst level of hell because that's where he like put himself. But there's it's just it's if you don't draw the line that Jack is Lars von Trier, it's just like it's like a your general like glorification of serial killer bullshit like that Dahmer show on Netflix or whatever. But when you like look at it from the perspective that like Jack is Lars' self-insert, and like there's also this whole bit where they're playing like between the stories that Jack tells. There's clips of Lars' own movies between them, and like incorporated into like the story and Jack explaining stuff to Verge. So when you look at it from this, it's like Lars is like, hey, if I can't make movies where I torture and rape women, I'm just gonna start doing it in real life. Is like the overarching like theme of this movie to me, which is fucked up. Like, it's just even like the more I talk about this, the more I just hate Lars. It's just frustrating. And it's always just like a bummer when someone who's so talented and like who can like make cinema just falls in this like incel Nazi hole. And it's like, what? It's like, just what the actual fuck, dude? So, in conclusion, fuck Lars von Trier, I guess. It really sucks that all of his movies like are so like they suck you in when you're watching it so much, and it really sucks that you have to pay him to access them, or not. But like, it's like he is beyond problematic to me. And even in like their stories of on the set of Dancer in the Dark, like he just would like be physically violent, not at Bjork but towards Bjork. And it's like one of the ways he was like, oh yeah, you have to like scare and beat women into like getting the role you want from them. And it's like, how about you don't, dude? So it's just like, you can't even say you have to let's like remove the artist from the art, because the irony of Lars von Trier is that he invented a system of film to remove the director, to remove the persona of the director from the film. And then he immediately lost track of that and only made films that were about him, his ego, and his ideology. So you can't even remove him from his art because the art is him. It is so like tied to what he thinks and what he feels that you just can't separate the two of them. Like he has the house that Jack built is self-insert. Like how are you going to remove a self-insert from the from the artist? So I'm not going to tell you not to go watch Lars von Trier, because I'm probably going to watch more of his movies because like the cinematography just speaks to me. But I'm definitely not suggesting that we should let him make more movies. Like I don't like maybe whoever's like producing for him just fucking stops. And it's like it's like the big male energy of like, well, why don't you stop me? Why do people let me do this? It's like, why do people let me make the choices I make instead of stopping me from my own habits? Where it's like, no, dude, just stop. You just stop. Oh, well, would you look at that? It's a video. If you're still here, and I hope you are, I like to think that I did my best and put a good foot forward. I like to ask you to go check out Ambient Dream Studios. It's an Etsy store. As you can tell, I like psychedelic art a lot, and I like Ambient Dream Studios art a lot. I have it up in another area of my room, just not the backdrop of my camera. So go check them out. Go get some art. It's great. You'll love it. They also do clothes. The link is going to be in the description. All right. And y'all just have a good rest of your day.